Hi, it's Thomas Massey here. Some of you may recognize me as a congressman for Kentucky's 4th District, but this video isn't about politics. This video is about a quest of mine. It's January 1st, 2018, 9 a.m. We just rang in the new year, and this morning I am driving to Georgia to pick up a very important ingredient in something that I plan to build this week. For 5 years, I've been driving this Tesla, but for 10 years, my family and I have lived off the grid. Our house has been running on lead-acid batteries, about half the capacity of the pack that's in this car. I would love to have the ability to run my house off of the batteries that are in this Tesla, but there's two problems. Number one, they're in my car, and I can't buy these batteries that are available in this Tesla. Tesla will sell you a Powerwall, but they are not selling it to people who live off the grid presently. My goal of integrating a Tesla type battery into our off-grid power system has developed a new sense of urgency. The lead-acid batteries that have been powering our house at night are now on their last legs. They are emitting their dying gasps of electrons, and their capacity is probably about 1/8 of what it was when they were new. Now, for years, I've been anxiously reading and awaiting the Tesla announcements about their Powerwall, and I think it's going to be a great system. The problem is it's not available to people who are off the grid, and I need one this month. So I am going to try and build my own Powerwall. I think I can do it for about half the price per kilowatt hour of the commercially available Powerwall, but more importantly, it will be compatible with my 48-volt off-grid system. So there are basically two steps in building your own Powerwall. Number one, you have to acquire a big honking Tesla battery, and number two, you have to integrate that into your home power system, hopefully without burning your house down, electrifying yourself, or wasting a lot of hard-earned money. Right now I'm going to focus on the first part of the mission, which is to acquire the battery. Now, at first I had the idea that I could just buy a wrecked Tesla and take the battery out of it. You see, Tesla sold tens of thousands of Model S vehicles, and hundreds of them have been wrecked, and many of those beyond repair. And I've seen them at auctions for sale. In fact, I bid on one of these cars in the hopes of purchasing it for less than what the battery was worth to me. I even looked at a car and almost bid on a car, but decided that the battery might be junk. And so I decided not to bid on that car. But in the process of watching these cars sell at auction, I have decided that it's almost impossible to buy one of these cars for less than what the battery is worth. Now, can you buy one of these cars for less than the sum of the value of its parts, including its battery? Yes. So I could go to an auction site and buy a wrecked Tesla with a salvage title and get the battery out of that, but I would still have several thousands of dollars to recoup beyond the value of the battery, and therefore I would have to go into the business of selling door handles and dashboards and wheels and brakes and motor drive systems in order to recoup the value of that salvaged Tesla and come out ahead on the battery. So what I've decided to do is to find somebody who's already in the business of taking apart salvaged Teslas and removing the batteries and selling all of the parts of the Tesla. And from that person, I want to buy the battery only. I found one of these batteries, and one of these individuals who's selling this battery in Georgia today, and that's why I'm headed down there. Now, hopefully I'm not buying a brick, a 1,300 pound brick, which is what this battery would be if it's not serviceable. But I have reasonable confidence that this is a good battery because the person who salvaged the battery was able to get the screen of the Tesla to come on and to show that the salvaged Tesla had 32,000 miles on it when it was totaled, and also that the battery had 208 miles of charge on it when the car was totaled. So I have reasonable confidence that this is not a brick that I am going to put on my trailer back there and tow back to Kentucky today. And that's important because I am paying $15,000 for this battery. Now that sounds like a ridiculous amount of money, but keep in mind, I don't pay any electric bills, and this battery should last me at least 10 years, hopefully 15 years. And a comparable lead acid battery, which is a far inferior technology, would cost about the same price per kilowatt hour. So that's why I'm headed to Georgia. It's about 450 miles from my house. I'm over 100 miles into this voyage. I'm almost to Tennessee right now. Pick up this battery, head back to the house, and then begin the process tomorrow of disassembling this battery and reconfiguring it for 48 volts, because the Tesla battery in its native format is a 400 volt battery, but it has 16 modules inside of it, each of which are about 24 volts apiece, that can be individually removed and reconfigured into a 48 volt battery, which is what I hope to do over the course of the next week.
Battery right there. That's where I got the picture. I said to Jack, he said,
Yeah. You can see it's riding high without a battery in it.
well, it was that high because I think it's in jack mode.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Air ride, it's in
Yeah.
jack mode. It was that high when I brought it in.
But it doesn't look too badly damaged, but this is the donor car. It's had a rough life, but
I imagine if you had to pay the bill to fix it, you might want to part it out too.
the battery's going to get a second life. A.m. January 2nd. The battery has arrived. Hi, it's day 2 of my DIY Powerwall quest. Yesterday, on January 1st, I drove 450 miles to Georgia and picked up a Tesla battery out of a salvaged Tesla and brought it back here to Kentucky, another 450 miles. So that was a long day. It's January 2nd. And I'm going to start wrecking this battery. Hopefully I can get it broken down into all the modules today. The guy that I bought the battery from is a super nice guy. His name is Mike. This was his 4th Tesla that he has salvaged, and he drives a Tesla. Mike was able to show me the salvaged Tesla that he took the battery out of, and it was actually in really good shape. It was in better shape than my Tesla over here and had fewer miles. It looked like a salvageable car. The fenders, both front fenders, the hood and all the grill work and some of the cooling radiators in the front were all busted, but it didn't look like it had a bent frame or any of the A-pillars or the rear fenders. None of those were damaged. But these are really expensive cars to fix because the used parts are expensive and the aluminum bodywork is expensive to perform. So he made the decision to salvage the parts off of it, and obviously it's probably a pretty good decision. I'm happy with it because I've got a good battery here that I'm going to be able to use in the house. Okay, just a couple quick close-ups. This is the Torx bit that has the security feature on it. You can see it's not going to engage the bolt unless it's got the hole in the end of it, because that little nub. This is the 10mm Allen key. There are several places on the battery where these big bolts are. And then finally, you should take note that this battery is a 400 volt battery. And unless you're trained and know what you're doing, you really shouldn't cut into one of these batteries or open them up. This is the pair of high voltage gloves that I'm going to be wearing when I work on the battery terminals. All right, so here are the 16 modules out of the Tesla battery. It's still leaking a little bit of Tesla juice. That's the coolant that they use to keep the batteries uniform and to heat them up or to cool them, whatever the case may be. And in this box I just got is the secret sauce that's going to make it all work. It's from EVTV, Jack Reichard in Missouri. Some connectors. Oh wow, looks like I got a mug. I didn't order a mug, but I got a mug. That's pretty cool. He's even sent me a satchel. I'm liking this guy already. These are cable harnesses to connect the modules together. A DC to DC converter. And somewhere in here is a computer that can talk to all of this. There's the computer and the all-important fuse. And into the battery strap. It's January 7th and we have success. I'm very excited. Those are all of the voltages in the 4 modules that I got hooked up thanks to the equipment from EVTV, Jack Reichard in Missouri. I built this box. I put the stuff in this box that he sent. I'm calling this Jack in the Box. So, because Jack is the one who came up with all the stuff that's in the box. So this box has a positive contactor and a negative contactor. There's a pre-charged resistor. These are the cables coming in from the battery. They will go out from those 2 terminals to my inverters at 48 volts. But the The magic beans are right here. This is the circuit board that Jack sells that talks to the Tesla modules. Specifically the battery management system on each of the Tesla modules. You can see a blinking little light there. That's the battery management system. But this is just a test. I just got this working. I'm super excited. Obviously I don't have all the modules hooked up. I've got 4 modules hooked up, and I wanted to make sure it worked before. I didn't want to blow everything up at once. But with 4 modules working now, I'm going to wire the whole deal together and take it into my battery room and throw out the old lead acid batteries. This is a quick peek at my inverter system. What you see here, these 4 deals are Outback inverters. They take 48 volts and they make 120 volts AC from a 48 volt DC battery. Now there are 4 of them. They are in series parallel so that I can get 240 volts from a pair, and this goes into my regular circuit breaker, household circuit breaker box. And then there are 2 pair of these so that I can get more current, more amperage, if you put them in parallel. Now over here, these are called max power point trackers. These take the voltage from the solar array, which right now you can see it's 105 volts, the solar panels, but the battery is at 51.6 volts. So these step down the power from a higher voltage to a lower voltage to charge the batteries. And so this is all based on 48 volts. The inverters are expecting to see 48 volts from the batteries. The max power point trackers, i.e. The solar panel chargers, they expect to charge 48 volt batteries. And that's why I had to take the Tesla pack apart. It's a 400 volt battery, and rearrange the modules to make it into a 48 volt battery. Now we're going to go in the battery room here. This is just on the other side of the wall. You can see what lead acid batteries look like, and I'll be glad to get rid of these. This is a hydrometer, measures the specific gravity of the acid in the batteries to tell you how full the batteries are, because voltage doesn't necessarily tell you the state of the battery on a lead acid battery. This is baking soda. In case things get nasty, you can throw that on the acid and neutralize things. You would not want to throw that on top of the batteries. These are discarded water containers. This is what it's like to live with a lead acid battery. They use water, they consume water when they get full, and you're topping them off, i.e. charging them. They will split the water into oxygen and hydrogen, and you lose water, so you have to replace it. And you can see these batteries are 11 years old. They have a 10-year warranty. Here I wired around a cell because it went totally bad on me. These batteries might have lasted longer if I had put more maintenance into them. But these were $12,000 when I bought them 11 years ago, and to replace them would cost $12,000. And rather than live with all this maintenance and this mess, I decided to get the Tesla battery, so I won't have to add water to the Tesla batteries. If you're adding water to those, you're doing something wrong. I won't have to mess with taking battery acid out and seeing what the specific gravity is of the battery acid. I won't have to worry about having baking soda around. And the Tesla pack will be 85 kilowatt hours of storage, which should be enough to run our house 3 days, even without any solar panels. If we had a full eclipse of the sun, it would still provide power for 3 days. These batteries were about 53 kilowatt hours when they were brand new. Now they're less than 10 kilowatt hours at this point. They're so used up. But today I'm going to be moving these out and rolling those Tesla lithium batteries in here and hoping to convert the system over. Okay, things are about to get real serious. These are my lead acid batteries. They're all disconnected for good. Never going back. That sound you hear in the background is a generator. That's what's running my house. I just hooked up my do-it-yourself Tesla Powerwall, but I haven't powered up the house yet. I've got the inverters idling, and the solar chargers are on. And they, most significantly, they say 48 volts for the battery. That's what the Tesla battery's at. So these are hooked up to the battery, everything's hooked up, but I haven't switched it over to the house yet. All right, the generator's turned off. The sun is down, it's dark outside. My lead acid batteries are disconnected, but the lights are on. So that can only mean one thing. The house is running off Tesla power right now. January 7th. Here is what the system is telling me. It says we're using 1300 watts. .25 amps at 48 volts. The system voltage is 47.88, and we've used 72 watt hours since I turned the system on. This is pretty daggone exciting. The Powerwall from a salvaged Model S 85 kilowatt hour car is now functional.